En esta semana tenemos Santi Aragon, multicampeón nacional, culturista de Classic Physique. How are you, Santi? I know it's been a couple years since we touched base last. I know you won your pro card. You were in the smaller divisions as a lighter weight when you're an amateur, but now you're in this awesome new category called Classic Physique that's just trailblazing across the globe, and now you're getting a lot of social media followers. Everybody wants to know what's going on with you today. How are you?
I'm actually quite good. The show is getting very close to Arnold. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel already. You know, this wasn't a very hard prep, actually, in my opinion, compared to other preps. I think this was a very easy prep. I don't feel as stressed as I usually do.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think that I first, the diet itself. I'm using a new coach that I started working with. His name is Johnny Casalena.
Okay.
Johnny Casalena. Yeah, he's on social. He goes by Johnny D on social media, and we started working together last year. So the food and everything, we got the calories up in the off season, but you know, he hasn't starved me, which is nice for a change. I usually, as the show gets closer, I eat very, very little to get that little, bit of body fat off. But it seems like everything is working the way that it should, and we're still eating, so that puts me in a good mood.
Would you say it's like kind of trying to accelerate your metabolism to kind of compensate for those calories to make you fuller? Or
I think, you know what, I think it has to do with setting your metabolism up in the off season is very important to the success that you're going to have later on in the prep.
It's a 365-day.
Yes. So if you start a prep already not eating much, there's not really anywhere that you can go to start trickling down and start pulling each week.
Right.
If you can get yourself at a nice maintenance with high calories, carbs and all that stuff, I feel that as the show gets closer and you start, 10% here, 10% here, you're still eating a decent amount of food if you started with a lot of food. So that had to do with it. I think that the cardio, this prep, cardio stresses the hell out of me. If I could pull cardio out of bodybuilding in general,
most people do not enjoy cardio. Yeah.
I'd be so happy all the time. Cardio wasn't so bad this time. I usually do only stair work, and for this prep, we did the treadmill, which is I never do.
That's the easy way out, they say.
I never do the treadmill, and he had me do the treadmill for an hour in the morning. And you say it's the easy way out. That's a bunch of bullshit. Because he had me doing it at 15% incline at 3.5 speed. So
you're getting your heartbeat up. Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the length of my legs. I have tiny hobbit legs, and my hobbit legs
kind of like Fred Flintstone flipping the legs and
At 3.5 miles an hour, my feet are moving extremely fast, and I'm holding on for dear life. So an hour of that is terrible because you can't even be on the phone or anything because you're holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
But the stress of the stairs, kept my body fresh, which actually helped me mentally too. So again, it's just a different type of prep, and this prep has been extremely good.
How'd you guys connect? How'd you meet? How'd you guys meet? How'd you connect? How'd you find out?
Oh, Johnny, there's this big forum on Facebook that I've been part of, and I was part of the radio show, a podcast. It was called Geared Up, and this Geared Up podcast. Yeah, this Geared Up podcast. I used to be a part of it, and Adam McVeigh, the owner of the podcast, and he runs the group on Facebook, Geared Up. All these guys that I never even knew existed in bodybuilding when I first started in that group, I started meeting. And then this person trains this person, and then this, and we just all got connected. And, I heard Johnny speak a bunch of times in interviews and stuff, and I'm like, this guy knows what he's talking about. So that's how I kind of got in the mix with him.
Yeah, social media has been that great equalizer. You know, a lot of people complain about it because it's a little overbearing at times, but it allows people who might not be getting the the TV coverage or the magazine coverage to kind of get their name out there. And it's a great networking tool.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. If it wasn't for social media, I definitely wouldn't know a lot of the people that I know now, and then I probably wouldn't have gotten a lot of the information that I got from them that I met through social media.
Yeah, I mean, so Facebook
it kind of helps you out in an indirect way.
Yeah, yeah. No, and all the groups and all the people that can participate in those groups is a great networking tool. And I think, for example, on our website, it's all plugged in through Facebook. I mean, they say that Facebook is taking a drop at about 5%, but it's still out there. A lot of people are using it internationally to call each other.
Yeah.
We cover mostly international. We're starting to creep into the United States now, with the Hispanic population. But
well, there's a huge Hispanic population, especially here in Miami. I mean, there's Hispanics everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. So, when you made that choice to go into classic physique, was that something you were planning on ahead of time, or is that something you said, hey, the 212 just isn't for me?
So, if we rewind back to 2014 when I got my pro card, there was no such thing as classic physique at that time.
Correct. Yeah.
So, naturally, you would think, okay, after you get your pro card, then I'm going to try and do 212. So, I did that. I took a huge off season. I gained a lot of size. I was eating like a madman. Food was disgusting to me already, and I got heavy as shit. I got like to 210, and then I started dieting down. They had the Miami Muscle Beach Classic, whatever. Geo show. So I did Geo show, and as I was prepping for that show, boom! Oh, we're coming up with a new division called Classic Physique.
Yeah.
But as we know, it has progressed every single year, them giving us some weight, some pounds. At that time, I would have had to be what I weighed at nationals to be able.
You got to go reverse, right?
Yeah, it would have been impossible. So I knew after that show, Geo show, that's the division that I needed to do. I needed to go into classic. But I gained all this damn size.
Yeah.
So I tried to do, I did one classic show after Geo show, and it was a complete disaster. It was terrible. I tried to lose all this weight and water weight. It was a disaster. It was the Toronto. It was a disaster. So I decided I'm going to take time off. I'm not going to train. I'm not going to diet. I'm not going to do anything. And I did 3 months. It was very hard. It was very difficult to not go to the gym for 3 months. But I knew it was necessary to allow my body to naturally come down.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I allowed my body to come down. This was last year. I allowed my body to come down, and then I did the Karina Nascimento Classic last year as my first classic show of the year. And I placed
flush
third.
Out your system.
Yeah. I flushed everything out. I started my prep small.
Yeah.
So I grew into my weight. I did the opposite. I grew into my weight instead of starting high weight and then dropping down to try to make weight.
Chiseling it out,
working in reverse, which was awesome for a change. And then I did very well at that show. I did very well at the Karina show. And then I went to the Toronto last year. I did very well in that show. I got third in that show too. And then Chicago was an absolute disaster for me. And I think by the time I got to Chicago, I already was dieting for about 8 months, and my body was just not having it anymore.
Yeah.
So I took the time off, and here I am getting ready for the Arnold. I was super excited when they actually announced that Classic was going to be at the Arnold.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of competitors. I think there's going to be like 30 competitors.
Over 30.
But that's exciting. I mean, to be a part of that first This is
the inaugural.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an honor because it's another thing that I could cross on my bucket list. If I decide after this year, screw this bodybuilding shit, I'm done with it. At least I can say that I was able to compete at the Arnold, which not a lot of people get to do that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of international physiques coming in there, and 305 is representing as well. So it's good to have a hometown.
Oh, we got
over there.
People.
Yeah, yeah. So when you're prepping right now, I mean, you have your cardio for an hour in the morning on the incline Stairmaster. What type of carbs are permitted? What kind of carbs are recommended?
So, I am and as what Johnny would say, I have a very unique body. Where unique may not be a positive thing, and it's like a positive and negative thing. And I'll let you know what I'm talking about. My body, which is very strange, I could literally go on 0 carbs, 0 fat for about 6 or 7 days. And when you see photos of me, I'm still round, bubbly. My muscles are still getting a pump. Right. It's absolutely insane. But your body internally can only take that torture for so long.
For so long,
For so long before you have to restart everything again. But if you were to just look at photos of me, you would be like, well, he doesn't need to carb up, or he doesn't need a cheat meal, or he doesn't need this. That's the problem with my body.
So you would say you're like a mesomorph.
Yes,
or
yes,
endomorph.
But I am, but I've never met anybody, or I've never trained anybody or anything like that where I have to refeed them every maybe like, if I get them down low on carbs, and when I'm talking about low, I'm talking about 0 and 30 grams. 0 and 30 grams. I'm not talking about 120 grams. That's my high day. My high day is 120 grams of carbs.
You're like a python, man. You could eat like once a month, man. Just like some big ass animal.
So we had this joke. Me and Johnny had this joke because he also trains Shanique Grant. Okay, and Shanique Grant, that's going to be doing the women's physique. I think she's going to win the show. She's going to win the women's physique. That's number one. Number two, she's an absolute anomaly of a body. I mean, I've never seen anything like her shape or anything. She looks like a cartoon character. So I asked him, I go, Johnny, I'd like to know what's her diet like? Because she's like a genetic freak. What do genetic freaks like that look like? Because then it's me. I'm doing an hour and 45 minutes of cardio. I'm going 30 grams of carbs. I'm eating like a bikini chick. And
don't quote yourself on that.
I'm eating like a bikini chick. We call it poverty calories. I'm on poverty calories. Yeah. So I asked him, like, what does she eat? Like, what? He's like, well, she does an hour of cardio, but every 4 days I have to feed her 1,000 grams of carbs. That's her refeed every 4 to 5 days. And I'm like, holy shit! Like, this is a girl.
Yeah.
1,000 grams of carbs. That's her refeed. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, she eats more carbs in 1 day. Every 4th day, she eats more carbs than I do in a whole month.
That's crazy.
In a whole month,
female.
She eats 1 day in a whole month. And that goes to show like how unique everybody's body is. I'm trying to get to the same level of conditioning or whatever it is, but our approaches are so different. It's so tailored.
Yeah. She'll bite your head off.
She will bite my head off, and I won't even fight her.
Yeah. No, but this is cool. I mean, you have a chance. You got an Arnold invite. This is probably, I would say, your biggest splash since nationals when you're
this is the biggest. Yes, this is the big stage. I just hope that they only allow top 6, unfortunately, to do their routines. So that's like my goal is to like let me at least crack in that top 6 so that I can do my routine, because that's what I have. My passion in bodybuilding is presentation, and it's always.
So how many hours a day are you practicing your routine?
My routine is, and most people don't believe me when I say this, is I hardly practice my routine. I do a lot of visualization exercises.
Okay.
So when I'm doing cardio and when I'm doing whatever it is, mostly cardio, I envision myself. I close my eyes and I envision myself going through each motion in each pose, and I'm just trying to make it into where I could just kind of close my eye. If I was on stage, I could close my eyes and do everything without even missing a step. I think that builds confidence. I don't have to think about it. I just do it. And I did that during nationals too. During nationals, I would do a lot of visualization exercises when I'm doing cardio. Getting that first call out, getting that center spot, quarter turn to the right, front double bicep, all these things, and then just replaying it over and over in my head. So when it comes to the routine, I'm constantly obsessing over, thinking about the next thing before I do it. And I think that I can execute the poses, but I think a lot of people have trouble. They hesitate. Mentally, they hesitate from pose to pose. Okay, what's next? What do I do next? No, just let it happen.
You like to improvise. Kind of like to improvise. Say, think it, do it, become it.
Exactly. I think that takes a lot. I think that takes a lot more practice than actually doing the poses itself, because it's a mental exercise that you have to allow yourself to do over and over and over again until
you know which poses you're going to hit when with the song.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that routine, the routine that I'm going to be if I'm able to do it at the Arnold, it's the same one that I did at the Karina show. The Queen routine, I just want, in my opinion, that's my best routine that I've come up with. It's like 3.5 minutes long. They're going to have to kick me off the stage. But
it's the Arnold, man. You got to get every second it counts, man.
But I put so much time into that routine that I think that the proper way to retire that routine is on a big stage, and that's why I chose to bring it one more time, and hopefully I get to perform it at the show.
Well, we're not going to talk about anything about retirement. How old are you?
Oh, no. When I say retirement, I mean retire the routine.
Right. Just want to make sure there.
Not me, but I'm 29.
You're 29, so you're just getting into your prime, man. You got many years to go with this. You got 12 years to go with this, easily.
I got many years. I'm constantly in contact with Jose Raymond.
Okay.
Yeah, we're very good friends, and Jose is at like the opposite spectrum of me when it comes to like age and career in bodybuilding and that point where you're at. So we're always going back and forth about our age differences, and it's also going to be an honor for me to be able to share a stage with Jose, because I don't know how many more shows he's going to have left in him.
He's been around for a long time.
He has. I mean,
he used to be around. I remember when the books were like that big, that thick. The media books. But
teenager, man. He's been competing since a teen. So the better part of 20 years or so.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already been competing for 10 years, and I'm not 30 yet. So I'm gonna get there at some point too.
Absolutely. Well, with bodybuilding the way it's going right now, expanding in so many divisions, expanding internationally, do you see yourself competing overseas at all, or?
I'm dying to.
All right.
I'm dying to compete overseas. Unfortunately, this year I will not be competing, overseas or anything like that because of my obligations with my sponsor, Muscle Tech, and they have me traveling a lot this year internationally, which is great because I could expand
your social media. Make yourself more marketable.
Exactly, which is great. But at the same time, it's literally impossible to be on a contest prep. At least for me, it'd be impossible for me to be focused on a contest prep, scheduled regimen and everything overseas. Like after the Arnold, 2 weeks later, I'm on a plane for 11 days. I'm going to be in China. And at that time, that's what I was thinking, maybe when I was starting to get ready for the Arnold, I'm like, this is when I could now capitalize on the Arnold conditioning and then hit another show whether it's overseas, but you know, business is business first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to keep your sponsors happy.
Very happy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, you know, who do you dedicate your inspiration to? You know, to get into bodybuilding. This is a crazy sport, like most niche sports, boxing, ultimate fighting. But who do you dedicate? Who gives you that inspiration to keep going?
You know what? That's a very tough question because bodybuilding has always been, you know, known as a selfish type of sport.
Narcissistic
you know,
sport,
you're doing everything for yourself. And I think that in some weird way, I always feel like I'm doing this for myself and self-gratification and all that stuff, but I feel like I'm doing it for everybody that's following me.
That's normal. Yeah, that's a normal answer. Absolutely.
Whether
your fans give you
social
inspiration.
media or you know, Facebook or whatever, I feel like I have an obligation to set an example. And I think that I've, you know, by doing that, you reach a lot of people and think that they can do it too, which is great. That maybe they can get into shape and maybe that one day they could jump on stage. Because everybody that before they became pro or anything like that, it was just an idea. Bodybuilding and competing was just an idea. Correct. So, I mean, even if it's me that sparked up an idea for somebody else to maybe either get healthier or maybe they wanna compete or get in the gym.
You know,
that's for me. That's the motivation, I guess. I don't reap the benefits of it because maybe somebody, you know, they might not tell me or anything like that. But I know that it does happen, and you know, everybody shows me a lot of love on social, especially getting close to the show. So it really means a lot, you know. So I feel like in some weird way I do this for them that tell me, and especially the ones that don't say anything, that just watch.
So you would say every new follower is a new social media strain or bandwidth of new inspiration, right?
Yes, without me knowing.
Yeah, exactly. No, they're following you for something.
Yeah,
they're following you for something. They want to see your changes, your
I get emails every single day about, you know, I've been following you since nationals, and I want to let you know that, you know, blah blah blah, and you know, I get a lot of these emails, and you know, they might seem redundant at some points, you know. But at the same time, I feel like I was this guy at some point in my career
8 years ago, yeah.
You know, I just couldn't reach out so easily to the people that I looked up to when I was getting ready for, you know, when I first started bodybuilding. It was like impossible. I wanted to talk to Lee Labrada, but how the hell was I going to do that? I was going to write him a letter or something. Now you could just go on Instagram and just send him a message and be like, hey, what's up? So yeah.
Cool. Well, do you have any shout-outs for your followers?
Well, I mean, the major shout-outs are definitely going to be, you know, friends and family are going to be first. And that's one thing that I cannot wait after the Arnold is to spend more time with my friends and family that I've regretfully neglected during this whole process. So, you know, my girlfriend Janice and my parents and my grandparents. But obviously, like, my sponsors, without them, I wouldn't be able to do this. Muscle Tech.
How'd you connect with Muscle Tech, by the way? I still haven't been able to connect with Muscle Tech.
I got very lucky.
Yeah.
And I wrote a post the other day of how I wake up every single day, like, so thankful that I have a sponsor like them. And it sounds cheesy, but with a industry that does not sponsor bodybuilders or anything anymore, that they just, you know, all these huge companies sponsor the girl with 1 million followers that shows her ass, you know.
Bought IG followers with TNA. Yeah. Yeah.
I, on the other hand, I'm very grateful for this sponsorship that I have with Muscle Tech. And I reached out to them after Nationals when I got my pro card. And what's his name is oh man, I hit a mind blank. But Ed Connors. Mm-hmm. Ed Connors, that for most people that do or don't know who Ed Connors is, Ed Connors is the person that pretty much started Gold's Gym. Mm-hmm. He reached out to me and said, hey, Santi, you know, you have a great look to you. You should reach out and be very aggressive with companies to see if they sponsor you. So he helped me out, write in an elaborate email, and we started sending it out to different companies that maybe would fit my appearance and my look and stuff like that. And Muscle Tech just kind of was just a perfect. They were reestablishing their look. They didn't have any Olympia athletes or anything like that, and I felt that I was a good mix between. I could bridge the gap between hardcore bodybuilding and maybe somebody that wanted to get into shape and also look good as well. Kind of bridge that gap in between, you know, two crazy worlds.
Yeah, I think that's what Classic Physique is really bringing to the table right now in general. Not to get off the topic, but I think you just hit it on the head. I mean, that's why this category is taking off so quickly internationally. All the pro card qualifiers or pro-am shows going on internationally. This category is on fire. We were in Colombia last week, and there were 32 competitors fighting for the pro card in the Mr. Olympia Amateur South America in Medellin, Colombia. And let me tell you, there's some talent out there, man. So it's a beautiful thing to see. They're all looking at you, man.
I'm counting. That's why I'm counting the years before I retire.
Yeah.
Because all these guys, all these freaks that are amateurs are starting to come up, and it's like, how do you weigh that? Like, some people, they tell me their weight. I'm like, how do you weigh that little? Like, what are your bones made out of?
Yeah,
like,
it's just different genetics, man. Yeah.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know, I really think that at some point I am going to compete international. I'm hoping to definitely get on an international stage next year. Just to, again, another thing to cross off my bucket list. So,
you been to Medellin?
Go ahead.
Have you been to Medellin?
I have not, no. So,
well, there probably will have a classic bodybuilding or a classic physique category in the Shuru Classic next year. So I'm sure we'll see you there. But for all those people out there listening to this interview and reading the subtitles, where can they follow you on your social media and meet the Santi Aragon?
The easiest place to get in contact with me is my Instagram. I answer everybody's, you know, even if it's stupid, I answer it. So my Instagram handle is IFBB_Santi. Nice and simple and to the point.
Simple. That's the way it should be. Yes.
Yeah. And from there, you could email me. I got my email link and my webpage and all that stuff. But if you really want to get in contact with me, that's the spot.
Well, we're going to close it off here. We're hitting a 30-minute mark. Santi, we always close every interview with our, what they say, lema, our slogan. You ready for the Spanish, right?
Oh, boy, here we go.
Nunca te des.
What?
Te des.
Say the whole thing.
Nunca te des por vencido.
Nunca te des por vencido.
Epa! There you go, brother. That's the 305 Cuban Stallion. Santi Aragon, getting ready for that Arnold prep. We'll see you next time on mdlatino.tv. Thank you very much, Santi. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.